Well, joining me now, Robert Rand, author who has been working on the story of Lyle and Eric Menendez for decades, and former federal prosecutor Neama Rahmani. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining me. Robert, I have to start with you. This case has been just spellbinding for so many reasons. You were the one that found the letter that which is now being used as evidence. Tell me about how you found it and how important do you think it's going to be in their new case?
Sure. Well, in March of 2018, I was on deadline for my original Menendez book. I have an updated edition that just came out September 10th. And I was visiting with Jose Menendez's sister, the aunt of Eric and Lyle Menendez. And her son, Andy Cano, sadly passed away from an accidental sleeping pill overdose in 2003. And I was spending a few days with Miss Cano, and she hadn't touched his bedroom since he passed away in 2003. And she told me, there's a dresser full of Andy's papers, and you're welcome to look through it and see if there's anything that might be helpful. So within 15 minutes, I found that letter, and I read it. It was a letter that Eric Menendez wrote to his cousin Andy Cano in November of 1988, about 9 months before the killing of Jose Menendez. And as soon as I read it, I realized this could potentially be major evidence in the murder case and possibly give the brothers a chance to reopen their case. And the key paragraph is where Eric is complaining about the ongoing sexual abuse that was still going on when he was 17 years old at the time he wrote this letter. And so I immediately realized how important it was. And I actually hand carried it from West Palm Beach to Cliff Gardner's office. Cliff is one of the appellate attorneys.
Wow.
And I brought it to his office, and he locked it in a safe. That's how I found the letter.
Neama, I mean, just hearing this and thinking what Robert has said, I mean, the DA's office saying that none of this new information has been confirmed, but nonetheless, his office is looking into it. Now, if this evidence were to check out somehow, do you think it would warrant a resentencing?
Well, Laura, there's justice and there's the law. And first, I have to tip my hat to Robert to finding this key piece of evidence. But let's talk about the fair and just result. And I believe that Eric and Lyle were abused and that they should be released. The challenge they have is the law. They're arguing self-defense, and we know that using deadly force requires a threat of imminent bodily injury or death, and shooting your parents in the back of the head while they're watching TV and eating ice cream doesn't really qualify. Now, California is unique in that it has imperfect self-defense, which means that if you genuinely believe that you're at risk, even if it's unreasonable, it does reduce murder to manslaughter. And of course, the brothers were convicted of first-degree murder, sentenced to life without the possibility of parole because they avoided the death penalty. But manslaughter under California generally carries a 10-year sentence, which means that that reduction would get the brothers there. The challenge, though, is I don't necessarily think the brothers' actions fits within the four corners of that self-defense law. So I think their other alternative is for District Attorney George Gascon, who's gotten a lot of pushback for being soft on crime, if he agrees to a resentencing in the interest of justice. I think that's the clearest path for the brothers, or of course, a pardon or Governor Newsom commuting their sentence.
But would be unbelievable to think of how much notoriety this case has received. And I think about all the other cases that do not have the level of notoriety that might have a similar defense. But Robert, I understand that you are in regular contact with the brothers. What is their mood now that their case is being reviewed?
Well, they are cautiously optimistic that something might happen, but they are also resolved to living the rest of their lives in prison. So they've become very valuable members of their inmate community. They are leading classes. They are counseling other abuse survivors. And actually, Lyle just got his BA degree from UC Irvine in the first class of a program that started in the prison. And Eric is working on his college degree.
Wow. Robert, what you've done in terms of furthering this investigation is really astounding. We'll follow this case very closely. Robert Rand, Neama Rahmani, thank you both so much.
Thanks, Laura.
You're welcome.